Put it in park. Park. It's probably not all the way in neutral. All right, so as you guys can see, we're back home after a sick week. Had a pretty long, adventurous week and trip, a lot of miles traveled. You can see we got Betty White on the lift. What I kind of wanted to do is a quick kind of unpacking video. I probably should have done like a packing video to kind of show you everything I take. So on the flip side, I'm just going to do it as I unpack. You can see a lot of the car is emptied out, but what I'm going to do is kind of go through the car, empty everything out, spread it all out. Same thing with the trailer. I got it all here, pretty much still packed. The scooters are off, and we're down one chair. So what I'm going to do is unload the trailer, pull the totes out, unload all the totes, kind of spread everything out, and kind of show you everything that we take. You can see here I kind of made this trailer work for what we're intended for. Probably wouldn't work real well for anything else, but we've used it in this configuration twice without the extra rack one other time, the first time. And after doing it one time, you kind of learn what you need, what you don't need, and what you plan on bringing on every trip that you come on. Spare tires, definitely one of them. So first time out, we ran the drag radials every day in the rain. Wasn't a whole lot of fun, especially towing. And we wanted to bring a canopy. We wanted to bring a little extra stuff. So including scooters, first trip out, we did not take scooters. So you can see we made these scooter racks here. We have one little spot for the back wheel to sit on. If you see that we got the same thing going on here, switched to tire baskets instead of just a single strap. It seemed to work a lot better. At drag week, first time out with the rack system on top of this, we had them moving around quite a bit. Ended up throwing extra straps on it, and it was just a hassle. So I found these tire baskets. Obviously, they're not made for such a wide wheel, but they work great. You know, the 1,000-mile trip, a lot of bumps, a lot of turns, no issues. You can see I have the fuel jug holder in there. The first time out for sick week, I made like a wood contraption. I'm sure you can go back in some of my earlier posts and see. But I had a spot for everything. It worked really well, except for the jack I had. We had it standing up inside the wooden crib, and it worked about 2 times and then went bad. I was able to get another one out on the trip and did the same thing. Worked a couple times, went bad. So the best I could tell is you can't stand them up. We upgraded to a larger jack from Summit Racing. They're lightweight aluminum jack, but still heavy duty enough, and it works really well. You always got to bring an extra jug of water. You never know when you're gonna have a water leak or have to make a side of the road repair and need to top it off with some water. Obviously a cooler, you need that. You got to have a generator if you're going to have fans and charging system, and or a way to charge your cell phones, your batteries for your cordless tools that you bring. Some bright lights. So these are color changing. You can make them dance and do all kinds of cool stuff, but we just leave them on red. You want to be as visible as possible, especially when we're down in Florida. Anybody that's visited Florida and gone down a highway, you kind of know how the Florida natives drive. It's as fast as you can possibly go. On the highway, we're doing 65. Everybody else is doing 90. Sometimes we're driving at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., as you guys seen on day one. We were driving and really late at night, and you just need to be seen. So make sure all your lights work, your turn signals work, your brake lights work. You can see the spare tire on there too. You got to have a spare tire. Have good registration on it. Obviously make sure your tires on your trailer are just as good as the trailers on your or the tires on your trailer or your car. Sorry, and you just need to make sure everything's in good working order. Make sure your bearings are packed tight, lug nuts are tight, tires are aired up, and everything just works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away and start unloading the trailer, unloading all the totes, and you guys can really see what we got going on. You guys can also see I got the 66 back here on the farm. What I'm going to do is my buddy Brian Hooley's coming over. He's going to ceramic coat the wheels. I'm still waiting on the interior to come back. Then I can get it in storage for the remainder of the winter. Can't wait to get that out this spring and start driving it. So yeah, I'm going to start unloading everything. This is what I brought with her car, Betty White, seeing right there. So I tailored everything towards an LS, towards an F-body, stuff that I know I needed. I have Metrican standard bolts, so you'll kind of see I brought both of those with me, extra fuses and stuff, but we'll kind of go over all that. But I brought extra gaskets for an LS. If you have a big block Chevy, bring big block Chevy stuff. Somebody once also told me to never bring anything you don't plan on changing. If you don't ever plan on doing a LS or doing a head gasket, then don't bring a head gasket with you. Don't bring an extra cylinder head with you. Only bring stuff that you're willing to actually change. If you're okay with doing a transmission and you have room for it, bring an extra transmission if you think you might need it. But my biggest thing is just don't overstock. Don't bring too much stuff. You just don't need it. So you weigh down your trailer, extra stuff, trying to figure out how to pack it. The cars work so much better without all the extra weight. So I'm just going to take you over everything that I brought with me this last time on sick week. So first we have this nifty little box, obviously fuses, but this nifty little box, I think this one's from Home Depot, Harbor Freight, wherever you want to get it from. Yeah, Home Depot on this one. So obviously the silver bolts are all metric. On her car I have metric and standard. So and there's some stuff I know I don't have on this, but in a pinch, if you need to put two things together, you can drill any size hole you want, nut and bolt it. Pretty much no matter what, I feel like I have a lot of that stuff covered. Extra bolts that I know I can use. We got extra relay, a couple little loose fittings here, a little extra wire, an extra trans brake button, fuse holder, pin removal tools, more fuses and factory relays that I use in her car, heat shrink, all kinds of terminals, as you can see here, eyelets, big stuff, Holley pins. There's more Holley ECU pins here. I mean, even if you bring 7 or 8 of them, you're not going to need more than that. Chances are you're going to need 1 or 2. So no need to overpack on any of that. You can kind of see, I'll do a quick overview of everything that I brought with me. We'll kind of work our way from right to left here. Extra CO2 regulator. You never want to, on a turbo car or a car that you need it to shift or whatever you're doing, you never want to be without a CO2 regulator, a bag of fittings and hose clamps. Here we have extra wing nuts for the little air conditioning deal I made, a spare coil, and I actually have a couple more. I just kind of set one in here. We have the Vaseline. We use that for the O-rings, for the injectors. A couple extra belts, one for each belt that I need. You'll see here in this this other brown box, that's something that I feel gets overlooked a lot, and that is a new hub for the trailer. Obviously mine are in good shape, but if you get stranded on the side of the road with a bad hub and you only have one axle, you're kind of stuck. So I stress that you should bring an extra hub. A lot of people actually mount those on the side of the trailer and then use that to hold your spare. I just never got around to making a mount for it. In the yellow envelope there is a extra O2 sensor. Then you can kind of see through here, I have just about at least one of every sensor that is on that car. So we have extra pressure sensors, extra solid state relay for the bump and trans brake. I have a cam sensor, crank sensor, map sensor, coolant temp sensor, trans temp sensor, pretty much everything you could possibly think of. A couple extra valve stems because we've had that issue before. I have extra wire. You can see an alternator, a starter, extra lug nuts, different lug nuts from front to rear. I bring both. A lot of spark plugs. So what we do is we run a hotter plug, a TR55 on the street. It runs better that way. You're not beating on it, so it doesn't really matter. except for your occasional burnout at checkpoints, but low boost, it'll be fine. So I'm told. All the yellow boxes, all race plugs. We do change them out. If we think we have a problem, then we put a new set in. Typically, we keep reusing them because we're only putting a couple passes on them, hopefully just one pass. But you can see a couple extra sensors, extra oil filter. In this box, I got some gloves. Just sometimes you can't always clean your hands, so. And then you're going to want to bring fluid for every fluid on your car, replacement fluid. So I got brake fluid, gear lube, transmission fluid, power steering fluid, oil, the whole oil change. You can see with the filter. A couple other things that people might miss is stop leak. You'll never know when you might have an issue and you need stop leak. So we got stop leak for the cooling system. If you get a little pinhole, that'll work out great for you. Here you can see we have a extra set of spark plug wires from FireCore. That's what we run on pretty much all of our cars, even the 66 and all the other LS vehicles in the big block. My Malibu has that. We'll kind of run back here. I got extra hose. That is for the CO2, along with fittings to make a union or to splice it in, replace a section if we need to. Whatever we need, we have that. We can use it for other stuff too, but you get real creative on these drag and drives if need be. Extra head gaskets, I mentioned that. I'm willing to do head gaskets if need be. So I have an extra set from Brian Tooley. Valve cover gaskets. Then it comes to Milwaukee stuff, or whatever power tool that you really like. Me personally, you can't beat the Milwaukee stuff. So I bring one charger, bring a lot of batteries. We use this fan for inside the car. We also use it outside the car. You might need it cool in the staging lanes. We have that. So we have a drill, impact driver, also obviously a couple adapters for the impact driver, Sawzall with extra blades. The grinder, the little die grinder, worked out great. I had to replace my fan in Georgia this year, and it's a lot of modifications needed to the fan. So I was able to use that as a cutoff wheel and cut everything I needed. Obviously the impact for the wheels, you got to have that. The air compressor, pressure's changed so much on these tires. One day it's cold, the next day it's hot, and you really need to have a quality way to fill your tires. My buddy Russ over at Summit hooked me up with not only a couple chairs. I don't have those in the picture. I had those earlier in the video on the trailer still, but he hooked me up with this pit mat. A lot of times, like this year, we spent a lot of time in the sand, or if you're in the rain or something like that, you can lay down on that pit mat. It fits in great. It works as a pillow or a bed too, and a pinch. We have our fan. I really recommend those fans. It puts out a lot of air. They work really, really well. And then obviously we have a power strip, a 30 amp adapter for our generator. Just make sure you have a way to hook into your generator. If you have a 30 amp, bring a 30 amp cord. Extra pair of gloves. We got some step bits. We have some drill bits. You'll see a lot of Mac tools in here also. My buddy Jamie over Buzzard Tools hooked us up on a lot of stuff, so gave us some good deals on everything. Some AN wrenches. Again, bring what you need. I have literally every size from 4 to 20 on that car. So I brought the whole pack. That strobe light I showed in a video when we were stuck on the side of the road, it's rechargeable. It could really save you from getting hit. I have my battery charger. Conveniently, this one works on 12, 16, and 24 volt. So you can actually use it for your buddy's car. If he has a 16 volt and you have a 12 volt, you have a lot of options there. You're gonna need plenty of light. So I bring this one. I actually stick it to the roll cage and use it as a dome light as well. But any work light, zip ties. Gotta have zip ties. It may seem like a sloppy way to do things, but it'll get you to the next stop or the next checkpoint or to the hotel, or until you can fix it before you make a pass down the track. So you got to bring zip ties. We have them in the door of the car just in a pinch if we need them. A lot of this stuff's packed away, so it might be a little harder to get to. So in a pinch, we have the zip ties. You need something to clean your hands with. You're working on these on the side of the road. There's no bathroom, nowhere to wash your hands, no running water. So again, Russ over at Summit Racing hooked me up with a lot of that stuff as well. You can see some hand towels, shop towels, parts cleaner, glass cleaner. You get a lot of stuff on the glass. Goo Gone for the rubber. that ends up on the windshield or on the side of the car. We use the Ultra Black. You never know when you're going to need to stop an oil leak or water leak or something. You can use that Ultra Black on just about everything. We were talking about the CO2 regulator. Well, there's an extra tank, completely full, ready to go. If you get a pinhole in the staging lanes or on your way in a line and you end up draining your tank, your CO2 bottle, and you didn't know, well, now you have a spare. Funnels. I brought every funnel. I brought 2 different funnels. One for the transmission dipstick. It's underneath the cowl. It's kind of what I need to make it work. So you bring everything you need. I have the black funnel there. That works good for the fuel, the oil, power steering fluid, brake fluid, whatever you need. That one works. Obviously the cap with the hose on it for filling the gas. In another video I showed the mud flap deal for the air dam for the bottom of the radiator. Dropped like 20 degrees going down the highway and down the road. At one point it wouldn't go over 145 when it was about 65 degrees outside. So it works really well. Highly recommended. Obviously a jump box. You never want to be stranded on the side of the road. No way to start it. And that works better than jumper cables, in my opinion, because you don't need another car. So you always have it. Drain pan, right there on the blue thing. We have a first aid kit. You never know what's going to happen. Some of these places were pretty far away from stuff. There's enough in there to, make sure you can hopefully get to the next stop as long as your injury isn't too bad. All the way from little nicks to, if you have a pretty decent wound that you need to get fixed up, you can do it with that little first aid kit. I'm really big into electrical tools. So power probe, we have that. Obviously a multimeter. Moving on to a little butane torch, more electrical tape, all your stuff to do your electrical repairs. I have there, razor blade, the spanner wrenches to adjust the ride height and shock preload or spring preload, a large pry bar, multi size pliers. So if you get a rounded off fitting or something, you can use that. If you have to adjust your bar in a pinch or something, you can do that. Obviously a crescent wrench, a good quality ratchet because you don't want busted knuckles, big hammer, just in case you need to make some extra room for something. We have a soft hammer. We have swivel joints. This socket assembly here is what I use for the rear wheels. It works really well and gets the ratchet or the torque wrench away from the wheel. So that's like the perfect length away from it. It also fits on the impact. A little magnet. We have our socket adapter, extra extension, our torque wrench, duct tape. This was a brand new roll. I didn't use any, but a lot of people around me needed it, so I had it. So that was a brand new roll. Something to get your oil filter off, fender cover. This bag here, I actually had all these other tools in that bag, and I could just grab it and go and get to whatever I needed. Extra pig mat, because I'm friends with Rick Trunkett, so I need pig mat. Extra towels, whether it be for cleaning the windows, wiping your hands, whatever you need. This cool little Husky kit, there's a lot of different kits. You'll see a lot of different people using different kits. This one I really liked because it has just about everything in it, at least enough for you to make anything work. So that's what I have, and it works really well. Again, you can use any brand. It doesn't really matter. These were on like a Black Friday deal. I think I paid $200 for it, and I 300 and some piece kit. So get whatever fits you. And then as you guys seen in my last video, I used these black and yellow totes from Home Depot. They're not watertight, but they do keep everything fairly dry. So that's what I'm using, or something like that. Or if you have an enclosed trailer, then use an enclosed trailer. But I use the open trailer, try to keep weight down. I did try an enclosed trailer. It did not work well. So I would just kind of recommend whatever works best for your application. Use that, but the totes are a nice way to organize it. We had some for chemicals, one for parts, 2 for tools, because we stuffed the fan, the battery charger, everything in another tote. So when we got to a place, we knew exactly what tote we needed to grab to get the car cooled down, get it turned over, and ready for street mode. So again, this is just a little thing that I do, that I have, all the stuff that I take. I do have a checklist too that I can always send to somebody if they need it. just to kind of let you kind of see what I bring exactly. And then I would just recommend kind of tailoring it more towards your needs and whatever you need. So, yeah, thanks, guys.